Another song. We're going into our community moment time, and our presenter today is Stephanie Rona, who is well known to this community and also the kind of coordinator of all our volunteer activities. So we're going to invite Stephanie up. She's going to talk to us about invisible disabilities. Let's welcome Stephanie to the podium.
I like how it says warming up too. All right. So yeah, today I am gonna make this adjust correctly.
Yeah. All right. Let's try that. Could be kind of hard to while I'm.
Yeah, you should take out it.
Stevie, if you want to use that wireless mic like that, you can do that.
Maybe it'll be better. Okay.
Oh, it is totally wireless. Yeah, nice. All the scratching sounds. Here you go. All right. So yeah, I'm going to talk to you today about invisible disabilities and seeing mental disorders. So a couple months ago, we worked with, let me scoot in, worked on our Rebuilding Houston project, and we fixed this home for lovely Miss Linda. And I had a couple people who were kind of surprised when we went and met her and were like, I thought we were working on somebody's home who was disabled. And I think a lot of people, when they think about disabilities, are always looking for something physical, a physical characteristic. Maybe they should have a missing limb, maybe they should be in a wheelchair, maybe they should be missing a chromosome. Something along those lines of a missing thing to make them disabled. And they kind of forget about those other invisible disabilities that affect people. So, to define a disability is a physical or mental handicap, especially one that prevents a person from living a full, normal life or from holding a gainful job. So, there are developmental disabilities. Developmental disabilities are a group of conditions due to an impairment in physical learning, language, or behavior areas. And about 1 in 6 children in the U.S. have one or more developmental disabilities or other developmental delays. So, in general, these developmental disabilities or invisible disabilities affect a large number of U.S. citizens. So these developmental disabilities are things like attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, the autism spectrum disorders, hearing loss, intellectual disabilities, those are things like low IQ, extremely low IQs, and then vision impairment. And those are things that you can't see that people have, but they inhibit and impair their day-to-day activities. And then there's mental illness, which is also, we like to call it a disease or other things, but it is a disabling thing that people have. And a development, it copied wrong. Anyway, I don't have the description, I should have verified that. So these are things like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and major depression. And I just want to clarify that there's, you have the blues or you're maybe minorly depressed. That's different than things like major depression. Major depression, you can have a brain scan and it will show that your brain is not properly functioning. These are things that you have to be able to function again in society, you need medication and psychotherapy, but otherwise you're gonna stay in this blue area, and it's a little bit different, and it can be debilitating. So, to speak about Harris County, because this is an area that we are a part of, and it kind of makes it more close to home and things we can recognize. A conservative estimate of Harris County residents diagnosed with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or major depression is 170,000 people. That's quite a large number of citizens out there just in Harris County who are affected by these debilitating, invisible disabilities. So Why does this matter? We hear about these things all the time, like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and a lot of them we hear of, like famous actors, like Robert Downey Jr. He's bipolar, and then we have like all these scientists who are like bipolar and all these things, and they're still successful. So we're always hearing about these success stories, but they have all of these things available to them so they can continue working on their lives. And I also like to point out people like Macaulay Culkin, who ended up not being a success story because their debilitating illnesses got to them. Not everybody can work through it. So, thinking of the successful people, we also have 83% of Houstonians with mental and developmental challenges that are economically disadvantaged. So Miss Linda that we worked with falls into one of those categories. And we kind of forget about them because we don't visibly see them. 25% of our inmates, this is here in Harris County, suffer from mental illness, making Harris County Jail the largest provider of mental health services in the state. So more people are getting care in a jail instead of a mental health clinic because our hospital beds in mental health care centers are overbooked. Up in Virginia, the guy who lost governorship, like right after the election, sadly was murdered by his schizophrenic son because he had tried to get him into a mental health care center and couldn't because the beds were full. And then he was killed. And I mean, that's a crisis. These debilitating illnesses aren't getting the care they need. Keep going. Oh no, my slides have gone off. Let me just come and manual override. Exactly. Let's see. Yeah, my computer's having a disability function.
Don't judge it.
I don't judge it. I'm encouraging it and I'm helping it. All right.
Such a pretty computer.
It's got the blues.
Oh, I don't know why it has the blue. Okay, here we go, duplicate. Sorry, don't mean to take up time with technical functions. So, more statistics. These are from Harris County statistics, okay? Because, we like statistics for reason-based people. 2 out of every 3 of the county's homeless population has some type of mental illness, and 1/3 have a serious mental illness. So 1/3 of the homeless population has a serious mental illness. And again, they're either going to be in jail or out on the street because we don't have proper mental health care. Not in Houston, but the entire US, right? And let me find the next little, apologize. This is hard.
In the dark, yeah.
Okay, and evidence shows that these mental illnesses can be related to changes in the anatomy, physiology, and chemistry of the nervous system. When the brain cannot effectively coordinate the billions of cells in the body, the result can affect many aspects of the life. So this is kind of what's different between just saying, get out of bed, you can do it, or just get showered and go find a job, or go do these things which we often hear people saying to people who are depressed or have these issues. It's not something that is just controllable. It's your brain and the chemical makeup. And that's why it's considered a disability or a disease. And we have to kind of start thinking about it that instead of thinking about them that way instead of as people's issues. So why does this matter? Because these invisible disabilities exist. They are diseases of the brain. Our government lacks funding, and so oftentimes, unless you have money for treatment or insurance, you're very likely to be homeless, incarcerated, or severely struggling with your debilitation. With these mental illnesses, there's fear associated from public eye. Because we have situations like the governor's son killing him, or just there's so many issues associated with diseases that are not treated. So we have fear associated with them. And a lot of people with these mental illnesses feel it's not okay to tell people that you have them because of the fear. You don't feel it's okay to tell your job. You don't feel it's okay to tell your friends. You don't feel it's okay to tell your loved ones, somebody you're dating, somebody you're married to, because you're afraid that they will think you're different, that you're scary, that you're going to do these things to them. And so I don't have an answer to what we can do, but I just want to put it out there, and I just wanted to share some of these things with you, because I thought of Miss Linda sitting in that home with her mental illness, alone, working with her illness, and we went out there and fixed her home, and she was so happy and so grateful. And there are more people out there, and we can't see their disability, but they exist. So, anyway, thanks.